Hello there, welcome. My name is Eddie. Welcome to my channel. So I'm doing a series called A Christian Reading the Quran for the first time. And if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. Welcome and welcome back if you're returning. So to start with, I'll say a prayer and I'll try and say like a neutral prayer. So dear God, I just pray for blessings over the viewer. I pray for blessings for me too. And I pray that I can learn and connect with the viewer and they can learn about how I think and I can learn about how Muslims think. Anyway, God bless them. Amen. Awesome. So thank you for the comments, the advice and the recommendations. I've been trying to put the recommendations into practice. However, I have got a lot of them and these videos have been released quite quickly, and I've also started studying again. So probably when I read another book in a few months' time, then I'll be able to be better at putting into place the recommendations. But yeah, I have tried to read every comment and tried to reply, and they're very interesting. I just want to say thank you for the encouraging words as well. I've received a lot of love. I just want to give one of these big hearts back to the Muslim community. So thank you. I've had some comments from Christians as well. My worldview is Christian and Western. Apologies in advance if I put my foot in it and I say something that accidentally offends someone due to cultural differences. That's not my intention. Like I said, my intention is to build bridges. I'm trying to be open-minded with regarding the text and regarding what's in there. However, I just want to be fully transparent, and I say respectfully, despite loving you Muslims and finding this very interesting, I'm not open to conversion. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. However, I'm also trying to be honest. And again, like I said earlier, apologies if I say the wrong thing and I offend anyone. That's not my intention. If I say something that you think that I've deliberately lied on, I wouldn't have deliberately lied. It would have been probably misinformation that I've learned. I'm not a scholar. Obviously this is the first time I'm reading it, so I don't really know. Some of my theology is going to be from, well, a lot of it from YouTube. So just kindly correct me in the comments and we can have a debate. I am open to willing to change my mind about things that I've heard on YouTube about the Quran, for example. And I've had my mind changed so far on a few things already. For example, a gentleman corrected me the other day and he said the Muslim population in the world is actually 2 billion. And I thought, no, it's not, it's 1.5 billion, because that's what I heard on YouTube. Anyway, I ChatGPT'd it. I know ChatGPT isn't always 100% correct and it gets things wrong and it generally just looks at stuff that's on the internet. So, but ChatGPT did go nearer 2 billion. So yeah, I'm open to change my views. I should research that more really. But I'm trying not to be too preachy about Christianity. However, I do love Christianity, and sometimes I can't help it. I try to, not be too intense with it. So I'm doing these videos for a number of reasons. Islam is doubling every 17 years in the West, and hopefully videos like this can sort of like build bridges, build gaps, bridge gaps. You can see that like us Christians, we're not, all really weird or whatever, or uptight. And then, same with you guys, preconceived ideas I have from the media. I can see that you guys are very loving and very kind in the comments. And yeah, hopefully, because at the end of the day, we all live on this planet together. We all live in countries, as Christians living in Muslim countries, Muslims living in Christian countries, and nobody wants to be loggerheads or arguing. Everyone just wants to have one big happy family and loving. I just want to be fully transparent about something. I had someone in the comments saying that I was, trying to sort of convert Muslims. This channel is a Christian channel called Following Christ, and if you read my bio, it does say that I love Christianity and I want to share it. I'm also doing it as a creative thing, as like a hobby. So if I was to say to you, I don't want Muslims to become Christian, that would be a lie. Obviously, I'd love Muslims to become Christian, and you would, as Muslims, would want me probably to become a Muslim. You know what I mean? So, however, that was not my main intention when I started these videos. Like I said, I've always been wanting to read the Quran and find out about other religions, and what better way to do it than do it online, and then I can connect with people and it's content for my channel. Yeah, so far I've learned about the Islamic view on marriage, fasting, on how to deal with disputes, divorce, and there's been a lot about Bani Israelis, the Jews. It's also about the Christians. There's been a lot of warnings about apostasy. There's been a lot of warnings about ignoring one God. There's been a lot on helping the poor, the travellers and the family. And yeah, I found it very interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to like grab it like that. But yeah, I found it very interesting, and there's a lot of wisdom in there. Yeah, so I'm on chapter 2, which is in Arabic, Surah, so Surah 2. and it's the longest chapter in the Quran, and it's written roughly around the time when Muhammad was in Medina. So Muhammad started in Mecca and then he went to Medina. So roughly half this book was revealed in Mecca, and then half roughly was revealed in Medina. However, it is mixed up a bit. It's not like the Bible where it's chronological. It's sort of like jumps around a lot, and apparently that's to keep your attention on it, so your mind doesn't wander off. And yeah, so Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2 is also called the cow. And a little summary here, it says, a comprehensive Medina surah covering belief, law, ethics and history. It addresses monotheism, guidance for believers, story of Adam, Abraham, Musa, legal rulings on prayer, fasting, charity, divorce, interest, admonitions against hypocrisy, social justice, and ends with a call to trust in God, stressing moral and spiritual responsibility. So yeah, I'm up to verse 231, sorry, and I've got the Sahih International, which was translated by 3 American women in Saudi Arabia in the 90s, and apparently it's popular with the Dawa guys who give it out to Westerners because it's in modern English. I've asked ChatGPT for a summary from a reputable Sunni and Shia tafsir, because in the comments a gentleman was saying, forgive me if I'm not remembering your name, that the summary from the ChatGPT that I was getting previously was like a mix of Sunni and Shia. Now Shia make up about 15% of Muslims and 85% are Sunni, and so I've asked actually for a summary of Sunni and Shia, and the Sunni one is Ibn Kathir, the Quran commentary context, and then the Shia one is Al-Mizan Tabatabai. Cool, so I'm up to 231. Let's go. And when you divorce women and they have nearly fulfilled their term, either retain them according to acceptable terms or release them according to acceptable terms, and do not keep them intending harm to transgress against them. And whoever does that has certainly wronged himself. And do not take the verses of Allah in jest. And remember the favour of Allah upon you and what has been revealed to you of the book, i.e. the Quran, and wisdom, i.e. the Prophet's Sunnah, by which he instructs you. And fear Allah and know that Allah is knowing of all things. Okay, so the Sunni one says, when divorcing women who have reached their iddah, either retain them kindly or release them respectfully. Do not hold them back to harm them. Doing so is injustice towards oneself. Always uphold Allah's verses and remember his favours and wisdom. Fair enough. The Shia one, Tabatabai explains, when divorce occurs at the end of a waiting period, mutual dignity should prevail. Believers are urged to act respectfully, not obstruct remarriage, and recall divine guidance and blessings to avoid personal justice and maintain social harmony. Cool, that's pretty self-explanatory. I'll move on quickly because to try and keep these videos not too long. 232. And when you divorce a woman, in the footnotes, for the first or second time, and they have fulfilled their term, do not prevent them from remarrying their former husbands if they, i.e. all parties, agree amongst themselves on an acceptable basis. That is instructed to whoever of you believes in Allah and the last day. That is better for you and purer, and Allah knows and you know not. Yeah, I think that's pretty explanatory. If they fulfill their waiting term, do not prevent them from remarrying their former husbands. If all agree proper terms, true believers in Allah and the last day advocate what is best and pure. I'll read the Sunni one. Oh, hang on. Is that what I read before? Oh, no. Tabata emphasizes the moral principle allowing remuneration under agreed terms upon terms, reflects ethically sound conduct. It provides dignity, mutual consent, aligning with divine instruction for community welfare. I think that's pretty interesting that they're allowed to remarry their old husband. I think, well, fair enough, there's a lot of lonely people in the world, and I think especially women, it's good for them to be protected and looked after by a man, especially in the 7th century when we didn't have hospitals and social welfare like we do today. 233. Mothers may nurse, i.e. breastfeed their children to complete years for whatever wishes to complete the nursing period. Upon the father is their, i.e. mother's, provision, and their clothing according to what is acceptable. No person is charged with more than his capacity. No mother should be harmed through her child, and no father through his child. And upon the father's heir is a duty like that of the father. And if the body desire, and if they both, desire weaning through mutual consent of both of them and consultation, there is no blame upon either of them. Next page. And if you wish to have your children nursed by a substitute, there is no blame among you as long as you give payment according to what is acceptable, and fear Allah and know what Allah is seeing of what you do. So 233 Sunni. Parents should jointly care for children's nursing, mothers suckle for 2 years, fathers bear maintenance according to means. Decisions should be mutual consent. No blame is properly resolved. Allah is aware of your deeds. The Shia, in his tafsir, Tabatabai views parental cooperation in nursing and upbringing in reflecting divine justice with responsibilities distributed based on means and agreement, symbolizing communal ethics and piety. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's good, especially when it says parents should jointly care for children's nursing, mothers suckle 2 full years, fathers bear maintenance according to means. And then at the end, you know, where it says like Allah is seeing of what you do, I think that's good because it sort of shows a bit of accountability. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you have to sort of do what's right because, you know, God is watching, you know. So 234, and those who are taken in death among you and leave wives behind, they, brackets, the wife shall wait 4 months and 10 days, and then they have fulfilled their term, and then there is no blame among you for what they do with themselves in an acceptable manner. In the footnotes, they may remarry if they wish, and Allah is fully aware of what you do. Do you know what, I think that's a pretty good idea, because some men in all communities, I'm not saying you guys in particular, can be quite possessive of their ex-wives. You know, be like, oh, you can't do anything, you have to stay indoors, blah, blah, blah. But if it says in, you know, in the Quran that after 4 months and 10 days, is it, that they're allowed to go and remarry, then I think that's fair. That's like women's rights, isn't it? Cool. ChatGPT, I asked, it gave me like, I asked for like, you know, what, 7, what are they called? Commentaries, summaries. It gives me 4 again. I'm like, ChatGPT, why do you keep cutting out half of it? So I had to say like, yes, can I have the other 3 verses, please? It's been bizarre, isn't it? You know, it's like it's got infinite intelligence and it's just lazy. Anyway, 234, Sunni Ibn Kafir. Widows whose husbands died must observe a waiting period. Oh, sorry, it's for death anyway. Right. Yeah, well, same principle, I guess. You know, if the husband dies, then there's no shame on the woman if she remarries, and I think that's really nice, because yeah, I mean, the husband's family could be like, oh, why are you getting married again, da da da, which is a quite valid emotional response from human beings. After all, we are human. So if it says in the Quran, you know, after 4 months and 10 days they can be married, then there can be no dispute. After this period, there's no blame if they remarry or conduct themselves in an honourable way. Allah is fully aware of what you do. The Tabatabai explains that the prescribed waiting period serves social justice, ensuring pregnancy status clarity and protecting lineage and emotional stability. Widows are then free to remarry, and when they choose, in a context of dignity and divine wisdom and Allah's awareness of all deeds. Gosh, that'd be awful, wouldn't it, having your husband or wife die? Oof, gosh. Anyway, 235. There is no blame among you for that to which you indirectly allude concerning a proposal to women, or for what you conceal within yourselves. Allah knows that you will have them in mind, but do not promise them secretly except for saying a proper saying. And do not sorry, it just reminded me of a situation that I saw on YouTube the other day. And do not promise them secretly except for saying a proper saying. And do not determine to undertake a marriage contract until they decree, period. 93. The Iddah, bereavement period, after the death of a husband, reaches its end. And know that Allah knows that is within yourselves, so beware of him. And know that Allah is forgiving and forbearing. That's nice, isn't it? 235. Men may hint at a marriage proposal to women observing Ida or harbour such thoughts privately. This is not blameworthy, but secret engagements are forbidden, and actual marriage must only be contracted once the waiting period ends. Allah is aware of inner thoughts and remain conscious of Him. Tabatabai emphasizes moral restraint, while politely indicating marriage interest is allowed during the Ida. And formal commitment must wait. This protects emotional boundaries and upholds spiritual sincerity. Divine omniscience ensures inner motives remain accountable. Okay, I don't know if this is appropriate for me to say, but in the news there's a lot of stuff to do with, like Muhammad hijab, because apparently he was supposed to marry a lady and it didn't happen, and she's upset, and yeah, I was wondering if this verse had anything to do with that, but yeah, I don't know. That's not me having a dig or anything, I'm just wondering. Verse 236, there is no blame upon you if you divorce women. Oh no, sorry, verse 235 is to do with death anyway, isn't it? Oh no, hang on. Right, I don't know. Yeah, it's to do with death, but I'm sure I find out if there's different terms for non-death marriage proposals. There is no blame upon you if you divorce women you have not touched. 94. The marriage has not been consummated, nor specified them for an obligation, required bridal gift, but give them a gift of compensation, the wealthy according to his capability, and the poor according to his capability, a provision according to what is acceptable, a duty upon the doer of good. So Sunni Ibn Kafir, if a divorce occurs before consummation, before a bride gift is set, there is no sin. Yet the husband should offer a reasonable gift, muta, commensurate with his means, whether wealthy or poor. This is a duty for those who do good. Shia Tafsir al-Mizan, Tabatabai views this verse as affirming justice, even absent consummation of formal mahar. A fair gift reflects integrity. The wealthy and poor should act in equity. It underlines that moral conduct is essential, and ethical generosity aligns with divine guidance. Okay, so 237, the last verse. Okay, 237, the last verse of this page. And if you divorce them before you have touched them, and you have already specified for them an obligation, then give half of what you specified, unless they forego the right, or the one in whose hand is the marriage contract forgoes it, and it is nearer to righteousness. And do not forget graciousness between you. If Allah, indeed Allah, of whether you do in seeing. So if you divorce them before you have touched them and you have already specified for them an obligation, then give half of what you specified, unless they forego the right of, or the one in whose hand is the marriage contract forgoes it. Sunni, if divorced before consummation, after fixing a mahar amount, husband pays half, unless the wife forgives it or the guardian remits. Acts of forgiveness are closer to taqwa. That's the charity thing, isn't it? Do not forget kindness between you. Allah sees all your deeds. Shia Tabatabai explains that even then fairness prevails. Partial payment is obligatory unless waived. Forgiveness is morally superior, echoing that mutual benevolence, generosity and piety reflect divine guidance. I think that's nice. I think that's really honouring, isn't it? But I sort of like, why would someone get married but then divorce before they consummated the marriage? But no, I think that's really nice, isn't it? That you can pay half the money and then, the lady can forgive the guy, and and it says about being kind. I think kindness is so important, isn't it? And forgiveness, oh my goodness. So thank you, that was really interesting. Well, it says here, note on sources, the Sunni tafsir draws principally on Ibn Kathir. Oh, Jayalan and Quran commentary. Oh, so even though I asked for I asked for one reputable, and he's given the ChatGPT's given me three. Shia Tafsir summarizes rest on Tafsir al-Mizan by Tabatabai, a leading Imani Shia exegesis. Awesome. Yeah, that was very interesting. Very interesting. I think, there's a lot of wisdom there. There's a lot of kindness. I think though that double page was pretty much all on marriage, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, it's good to really clarify, isn't it? Because anything to do with people and relationships is quite emotionally charged, isn't it? So it's good to have some guidelines, and I think those are very kind. Not that my opinion matters or anything, but anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, see you for the next one. God bless you.